Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, I'm testing out this new OBS streaming, making sure everything is connected. So, I think everything is looking good. Just testing it out here. Cool. All right. So, just wanted to showcase some of my design process. I usually do this just like by myself, listen to some music, and just go on and like do my design stuff. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of broadcast and show what I do when I am designing something for a client and stuff like that. So, I'm doing a right now. I'm doing like a website redesign for this Cap USA e-commerce website, and what it is, it's they sell a bunch of caps, fitted snapbacks, things like that, with all the major league teams from baseball, NBA, all that stuff. And one of the key things, if I go over to their actual live site right now, this is their current website, and this is why I'm redesigning it because although it's great, but essentially it's a template that they use from Shopify, and I'm going to help elevate that and make it look different and unique because they're growing. And he says that with his site right now, it doesn't feel like he's at the level that he's at, and also could deter some people away from going to the site because even me personally, when I go and shop around through sites, if I see a website that kind of looks a bit sketchy because it's outdated, it's using like old templates, or it just looks like someone just made this in a day, I sometimes steer away from those sites and I don't, you know, go and buy anything from there. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to help them redesign this, and they have this very simple mega menu right now for all their teams. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to condense this and create a unique mega menu that is going to be easy for them to actually pick their team and also be able to see the logos of the team, so it's easier to visually right away see which team they're trying to go for. And this is kind of like version one of the hero section right now that I have that has like, photography in the background and stuff like that. But let's go ahead. I went already downloaded all of the logos from another site. And actually, let me show you guys some of the examples that I brought up. I have like two screens open here. So I'm looking at my other screen and I'll bring it up here to this one screen. But so here are some of their competitors and what they have right now. This is from New Era, very clean. I could see that they have the mega menu kind of centered and squished in the middle with a container. Then you have this heat, or what is that, Hat Heaven, sorry. And same thing, they have a container, and it's a little bit better because then you can actually select the team, and then it has the list of teams with their logos. And then this version here, which it is actually takes up the entire screen but gets pushed to the left, and that is this one here. And it has, again, where you could select the league and then go inside and select individual teams. So I like these. I like the fact that you can see the logos, especially for like MLB, NFL. It's not just text. So visually, you can actually right away, oh yeah, I'm looking for NBA hats. I click here, and then I can look at the list. And then I created some examples with AI that I just use for reference. Like I get some ideas going using an AI tool, and this is kind of what it created for me. And being a designer, I'm not a designer by trade, but I just am someone who can visually see things and then kind of have an idea in my head of what I envision, and then I have to actually do it. It's hard for me to describe it. But when I looked at some of these, I had ideas of how I can kind of polish this up because, again, this was AI generated. So it's maybe 50% okay, but the rest of it has to be strategy and has to be designed from someone who knows a little bit more about design. That's how you get like really good results from using AI tools and stuff. Here's another version I actually really like too that has it. And obviously, you can't see that it wouldn't be able to include the logos in here, but I can kind of visualize what that looks like. And here's actually some screenshots from like resources that I go to, and I get ideas from other mega menus in general, and I put them all together. And again, I just kind of like put these ideas in like a vision board or a mood board, and then I kind of figure out what works best based off of the direction and the goals for this specific project. So yeah, so for this specific live, I just wanted to kind of go through and just start designing this mega menu here for you guys. And a lot of this will be boring. So if you are watching this live, just know that a lot of this is going to be me not really talking much and just showing you my very slow design process. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I usually listen to like a subtle background playlist, and I might actually add this to the live. I don't know right now, but I'm gonna put it like maybe somewhere around here. Perfect. Hopefully that's not too loud. Cool. Let me put this a little bit lower. Sweet. So first things first, actually, what I want to do is accidentally put it on. Oh yeah, that's why. Let me ungroup this for now, or let me hide that. I already have the idea that this specific mega menu is going to take up the entire screen size, so it's not going to have a container. And I will probably put this, make it white. I think that's just like straight white for now. For in the meantime, just so I can differentiate where the top of the nav bar is or the bottom of the nav bar, I'm going to add a stroke to the top, just so I can see. I don't know if I'll keep it though, but we'll see. So we have here the full one. And again, looking back at some of the examples, I think we have, I'm just going to start with the MLB one. So I actually need to download that logo. If I go over to, which one is better? I think I like this cleaner look for now. So let's see if I can download from Hat Heaven. And let's see if I can do this, or if not, oops. So this might be an SVG. We actually go to, let's see if New Era. For about every 25 strokes, I need a sip of coffee. Otherwise, I can't design. Right now, I'm just getting an idea of. Okay. So, what I like about these, the ones that were AI generated, was the fact that they had a secondary color that separates the two different hierarchies. So, right, you have the top nav menu, right, the main nav menu. Then when you hover over by league or whatever that nav title is going to be, then it will have two different like sections, and that's why I want to separate that. And I love that visual separation with the colors. It helps psychologically make it easier for things to be organized in the brain and for you to visually see it a lot better in your mind. But essentially, the left side, right, with the different color, that's a menu with leagues that you can also hover over and select. And then the right side, that's more white, is the one that actually has the individual teams within that league. Compared to these, where, yeah, you'll see it here on the left, but if you look at it from above, you can't really tell the difference which one is like a league versus individual team, right? It's kind of hard, especially here. You kind of see like it just makes it seem like these are like featured teams maybe or something like that. Like if you're really not looking like right away, and this one's a little bit better because it has the black backgrounds on the logos. But I think what we're gonna do to make this unique and not copy these other websites is we're gonna kind of do the separation here with the colors, and we're gonna play around a bit, right? I don't know. Like what I do is I test things out. I see what it looks. I sometimes delete everything and redo it, which is why I say I call this like my slow design process, because I really don't know what's gonna look good or not. Perfect. I don't know if I'll do a black, but if I do, it'll be maybe too dark. Let's just do it that way for now. Actually, let me just get on the bluer side. Something a little bit off black. So if I can remove this white stuff in the back. Actually, I don't know if it did anything. Let me actually try it this way. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Let's just do it like this for now. Then it says leagues. So let's click that, and then leagues. And like I said, right now I'm not trying to be super polished. I'm just getting things in place to see if it'll actually look good or not. I actually need a prototype view. See, I'm already starting to like how that looks so far. Might actually need to be taller though, because I know there's going to be a lot of leaks, but I like that. So once I hit that, might make this bigger though. Okay, let's see if it's like 80. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Actually, let's go halfway, like 60. I'm just gonna auto layout for now. Just auto layout this for now. How many of them are there? This one has 4. So it has a lot more. They only have 3, so let me just do the 3 for now. NFL. Let's just start with those 3. Well, might as well just get them from that site I was just at. It was New Era. is I realized that MLB is more like horizontal, but these are more vertical. So figure out what makes it look good or not. Meantime, just make sure I get these cropped exactly to size. So what I like is that here, at least how they show it, they have it in a div block or a box. So we might have to do something similar. Actually, group. So what I might need to do. Let's see what it look like if I add these in here. Okay, so I think this is looking good for now. I might come back and revise it a bit, but this is where I kind of want to just keep going, keep the momentum going, and keep the juices flowing. Okay, so far so good. Now let's look at what we can do with the teams. We want to separate this for now. These are just listed very tightly and close. These are the same because there are a lot of teams, so that's kind of the, I like this one. It has a little bit more of a padding and spacing between each one, but I feel like we could do better. I kind of had an idea with this that I wanted to try. I don't know if it's going to look good, but I wanted to try it. Separating it with light lines. If I do that, let's see what would make sense. Actually, yeah, I think that would make sense. So the way I'm going to do this, yeah, I'm just going to do it this way. There's probably a easier way of doing what I'm about to do, but it's always nice to get messy. Okay, so I'm trying to see here if this makes sense. I might have to kind of add some random ones in, um, because the hierarchy could make sense, but they might be confusing, although they're all boxed in. I was just trying to see if I separate the logo and the name, if that would be, kind of adds a little bit of design flair, but also separates it from the other designs. But I think like it might get confusing if you don't know which logo, if it's on the left or on the right, if that makes sense. But I think I have to visually see it with a couple more um, logos. So let me just add like 3 and 3. I'm just gonna add some random ones, even though they're not gonna be in order. This one's bigger. It's weird. I thought I took it from this one. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know if I like that. theory, I think it looked great, but I feel like people could get confused not knowing if the logos are on the left or on the right. And I know, honestly, it's kind of obvious for a lot of us, but you'd be surprised when people just see things really quickly. And you want to make sure when you're building out e-commerce sites that you just make it stupid simple for people to be able to navigate, see exactly what they want to see, get exactly where they want to get with no inconvenience whatsoever. That's what everybody wants. So I might actually remove those blocks inside of the logos and just make it open, but keep it all blocked in one. That way, obviously, it makes sense that you will be looking at the logo you're looking for. Let me just see what happens if I just take out this line. Yeah, you see that looks much better. Okay, let's see what would make more sense though if I keep the logo and the titles together closer and move it all to the left, which what that would cause is shorter names will look more squeezed to the left, longer names will kind of obviously protrude out to the right. But if I keep it the way it is, here, let's give it a shot. Yeah, they might have to kind of stick together. So if I do this, keep it more that way. Much better. I would even, I'll probably remove some of the spacing here. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to do this. So what I'm going to do, instead of making it very difficult for myself, is remove these logo boxes. And just do that instead. that looks a lot better in terms of hierarchy. I think what I need to do though is I'm gonna make this a little bit lighter. I don't like how much it's showing right now, but in theory this is looking good though. Perfect. Yeah, actually delete something. That's probably why. There you go, much better. Very light, subtle. I don't want this to be a black, like deep black stroke. I just want it to be very subtle separation of lines so that you can clearly see when something is boxed in, it represents a different team. Obviously, and along with the logo being close to the name, good spacing there. Now let's just, yeah, honestly, I think this looks good. So just so I know, and it's kind of weird because I know some of these have, I feel like not all the same teams. I don't know what that's due to, but I'm not like a huge sports guy, so I don't know a lot of these teams, except for the Chicago White Sox and Chicago Cubs, because I was actually born and raised in Chicago. But see, they have 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, sorry, 8. There was the other one that had 10. So 8, 1, 2, 3, and then they have four layers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is a total of 30 teams. Let's see what we can do. So I have, okay, perfect. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I were to kind of copy these guys, I would have 4. Right. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But what I can do, and I could play around with like spacing later, but I think what I might want to do, because there's a couple of options, I can just let it run all the way through and that could be it. So essentially the nav menu would look like this. It would have the leagues on the left side that you can select from, and obviously right now what I don't have is what the state of it being highlighted, like that I am on top of MLB and these are MLB teams. So I will have to design that, but it'll be this league div block here, and then this is the list of them, kind of like in this again stroke line block boxes boxed in. And if I really wanted to, I can make this longer and just have 10 on each one and it'll fit perfectly. And then I could have another design here where I was thinking something like this, where yeah, and if there's more, I can kind of keep them going and it might be scrollable. But honestly, I don't think there's any league that has like 40 plus teams, and I might be mistaken, but at least for what Cap USA is doing, I think that right now at least they only have MLB, NFL, NBA, but they might want to list all of them. So yeah, that's just what I'm thinking through right now in my brain, is figuring out design wise, because this is the thing where a lot of designers kind of start getting into their heads a lot, is they want things to look nice, which like right now this looks nice, but when you're designing on Figma, you're designing something static and not something dynamic that you know is going to add or remove. So you have to be aware, right? Contextually aware of exactly how the design is going to be used. Like, for example, MLB, there's not like, we already know that there's a set number of MLB teams, and it's not like 3 plus, 6 plus teams are created new out of nowhere every year, because they're not. They're almost already set. I don't even think if there's a process of like actually creating a new team. I don't know if that even exists. So at least in my mind, I know that NBA, NFL, like all of these big ones, um, they already have like a set number, and it's very rare for them to change. But if this was something else, like obviously, if I'm listing out another e-commerce clients, and this is more like a mega menu talking about accessories that they offer, I could design this to where it only shows 6 type of accessories. But you never know a year in the future if that same client was talking about, yeah, we're expanding the amount of accessories we're offering, and we might have 20 plus more. Then I would be thinking about that. What would it look like right now perfectly with 6, but will still look really good if they added another 20? Um, and again, those are just things that you have to think through as well. And usually, sometimes it's done in like the UX part of the design. But for this specific one, I just wanted to document what I'm doing here and kind of how my slow brain processes things and kind of ensures that things are exactly how they need to be. So let's see. I'm just gonna add this just to see what it looks like, right? It's just for fun, but not necessary. If I just make it 10, it could be like this, and then I have like images here. This is not their photography, but just more like a mood board. I added this. In here like that. And then let's just say added. Oops. Visually, it looks great. Um, right, that would be a really cool mega menu to kind of like have here so far, right? It's not finalized, but um, and this would be good. And I might use something. I'm gonna actually use something similar like this for maybe another different menu that's not so big, like the shop by league menu item. But I just want to see what it looks like here, and I think it looks great. And again, this is all like desktop view. I haven't thought about the mobile yet, but it's like part of the process is starting here and then doing another version for mobile that specifically works better for mobile. Because these type of mega menus, they're not going to be exactly the same as desktop. So you're almost creating 2 different experiences when it comes to these giant mega menus. And they have to be, right. You have to have one specifically for desktop that has the best viewing experience specifically for desktop, and then one specifically for mobile. So that will be a whole different ball game. But right now I'm just doing the desktop version. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna delete this, and then from here, I might add. Let's see. these have like super long names. Let's see. San Francisco Giants. Let me just add this randomly somewhere. It's actually not Arizona Diamondbacks. It's actually pretty long already. Yeah, which is good actually. I think Arizona Diamondbacks has the longest name so far, and I'm just taking into account how much spacing I'm going to need for names that might be a little bit longer, and that also affects what size these should be as well. But so far, I think it's good. I think what I might do, two different things I could do here. I can either extend this all the way or keep the same spacing that I have right now, which I don't think is bad at all. Just want to see if I do that, and then I expand this instead. I don't know what that one was. Oh, I see now. That's what it was. I don't think we need to keep the left side that long though, so we're actually going to move this back to like a maybe like a 300 width. Let's see, actually probably a little bit more. so far. B. This might actually need more separation. So I kind of like this. Let's see what this would look like. I don't know if I want to go this direction. Make this more of a black. Okay, that will keep it clean. We can also add like a variation of a color. And right now, this client specifically doesn't have like a brand identity. They're actually going to send over something that they had like another kind of like designer help them with. But I'm trying to see, I like creating like unique subtle colors. Probably more on the bluer side always looks better. That are not just like gray and white or black. I actually kind of like that one. That one looks kind of sleek. Let me see if I make it a little bit darker. Blue and dark. Yeah, that's looking better. That's exactly half and half. Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna add, I like how this one has like that arrow as well. So I might add, let's just say I'm gonna do a regular Figma arrow. Just to see what it looks like with this one at least. I like that. I think that adds to the hierarchy and visualization that you are hovering over a one, and if you hover over to the right, you can select your team. I like it. I might just add, I use this site, Flaticon. Something simple like this one. It's like 16. Better. I like that subtle icon right there. Perfect. I also want to add, since this might not be all the way, I also want to add this text here to add some more, make use of the real estate essentially. Maybe 16. So, because I know there's going to be a page that has the collection of all leagues that they can sift through. So I want to make sure that they can also click here. Because what happens is when you have a mega menu and you hover over, let's say right now, I don't have it in here because I'm going to replace MLB, NFL, NBA by shop by league or leagues. And then when you hover over that, some people forget that you can actually click on it. And so hover, and if you're here, you can also click view all. I might even put view all leagues or view all caps, etc. Something like that. And now the only other thing that I might add to this is obviously this is more like animation and after its action development is for desktop. When people are hovering over, I should be able to feel and see that I'm hovering over a certain one and that it's clickable. So as soon as I'm hovered over, I need to create a hover state where I think I'm going to change the actual block color to black and the text is going to turn to white. And I feel like it could work with all the logos without making them like fully disappear, except for the White Sox one. So that's one of those things where I'm going to experiment to see what makes it look better, or it might just be a subtle change in there as well. But that's one of the things that I want to see what that would look like. So what I might do. I know if I make it actually let me do one in the middle so it's not there you go. Yeah, you see I kind of like that, the fact that it turns black and it might not be the straight black. I might use whatever offset black I had here so we keep it consistent. I like it. So that's what it would look like when you hover each one of those. It would turn black, text would turn white. That looks good. I'll probably even add this same arrow here. I might actually add that in here by boom. Much better. So there you go. We have regular state when you hover over here. Then when you hover over a team, you can see that it's selected and you can click on it, click anywhere on this thing, and you will go to that page. I love it. Sweet. Now let's see if there's anything else missing before I finalize it by adding the actual logos to see what it fully looks like. But we have the shop by team on this page. It's pretty simple, honestly. Let me actually go to Capio and say let's see. I see they have NHL, but they don't actually. Yeah, I'm gonna add NHL here. Oops, I already had this set up. much better. Now, one thing I wanted to see is, do I want to keep that black line up there? I think I might have that. It's not that one. I think it's that one. Okay, let's see if I take that off. I feel like the stroke line helps with the separation that this is a mega menu. So once I turn it back on, yeah, I think it helps. It helps a ton. Gives it clear distinction that top nav menu is separated by the mega menu drop down. So I like that. What I'm gonna do actually here to kind of show. Okay, what I might need to do here. Trying to see if we need a subtle distinction here for drop down, or if we need to make it bigger. I feel like maybe a subtle one might work. Yeah, I like it. So what I'm thinking here is it's a subtle distinction because we're hovering over this league's nav menu and we're not selecting it. Like we didn't click on leagues, otherwise it would go to the view all leagues collection page. But what I see here is this is a subtle distinction because this is going to happen throughout any of these. As you hover over them, we will have this subtle light gray kind of light box that you can see that you're about to select that one. And then when you actually hover over it, this obviously opens up the mega menu. And it's not the main action you want to take, which is why it's going to be subtle. Then the secondary action is you can, filter by league and hover over one of these, and that's the second action one takes. So it's a darker background that we're using, And then when you finally want to actually select on the product you're looking for, then it's this deep black um, background that it changes to. So it's kind of giving you psychologically, showing you like you're getting closer to where you want to go by hovering over the leagues and then selecting the MLB so it gets darker, and then finally selecting the product. So I like that state flow right now, and I'm going to keep it like that. So I think we are pretty much good here. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else that might make this a little bit different. And just so you know, some of you guys might be tempted to, you know, how I have leagues here. You might want to have like, why don't we just like make this smaller and add teams? And the only thing is like that's I think a waste of real estate, especially when we have this many. So you can see we're kind of already having like a little bit over the half of a desktop screen right now, and we can size these when it comes down to development to the point where they have an EM or RM specific ratio so that they don't ever protrude or like get wonky when it comes down to a little bit of a smaller screen size. And obviously, the smaller it gets, then these will actually become scrollable columns all the way till we get to the mobile version, which is going to look a little bit different because you have to click, click, click in order to get into some of these mega menu items. But aside from that, I like everything. I think we're going to leave it at this for now. And yeah, I might make a YouTube video later on kind of showing the actual final design. But I just wanted to quickly do a quick live and just show you this slow design process. I don't even know how long this live has been, but um, yeah, hopefully you guys like it. And let me know if you guys like some of this stuff and if you guys want to see more live content, because I'm just going to keep posting this stuff when I can and just keep it going. So appreciate you guys. I'll see you.